In this series of 4 videos, we explored a singing tone on the violin and how you can make your own violin sing. And in this video today, I will show you 3 more advanced techniques that you can use to get more subtle tone qualities and shading in your music. And to put all of this course together, we finish this video with a challenge. So are you ready for the next level? These are the secrets that will make your tone unforgettable. The 2 magic words here are articulation and phrasing. We've talked about phrasing and how you must shape each phrase with dynamics in the previous video, but here in this video we will go a step further. To make your violin truly sing, you want to determine in every phrase of the music what the most important note is that you are going to bring out. So once you've made your choice of interpretation, you shape each phrase around it. The good thing here is that there is no right or wrong. This is your interpretation of your music and you're in charge. And this is where playing music gets exciting. I'll give you an example. So have a think of what you have actually heard. So first I started a little bit quieter, I think. I could make this very, very different. Did you hear how exactly the same notes can be interpreted very differently? And it is up to your imagination to play around with your music and bring out the different elements that are interesting for you. Now you may have heard that there was a repeated phrase in what I just played. And if you play repeated phrases, particularly when this is a Baroque piece of music, have a go at playing the first time louder and the second time quieter. Quite often you get this sort of echoey effect, and that makes your playing more interesting to listen to. Similarly, if there's a repeated section in the music with repeat marks, aim to play the second section completely differently the second time so that you add variation and interest into your music. Now that is about dynamics. Articulation is about whether you play your music staccato or legato, or every shade of articulation in between. And this is how long you will hold your notes when you play detached notes, for instance, whether there is a gap between 2 notes or not, and how clearly you define the start of each of the notes. I'll give you an example of this as well. So I could just play a simple scale like this. So we call this détaché. Every note is separate on separate bows and nothing is slurred. But I could play it like this. You see, now I play it with a different bowing technique called martelé. I have pauses between each of the notes and I start every note with a slight kick. Maybe you can hear that. So I start with a well-defined beginning of every note. Can you hear? Instead of this. Different articulations. It's when you get the idea that different things are possible that you can gradually assess your own music and find places where you can do either a more staccato type of note compared with a more legato type of note, depending on what you find interesting in your music. So that about articulation and phrasing. I will show you some techniques that you may use for improving your phrasing and your articulation. And first of all is the bow tilt. And now we get to some more advanced techniques. I always recommend for beginner players to play with all the hair flat on the strings because you get the fullest possible sound. But when you're slightly further advanced, you might try and play on the edge of the bow, on the edge of the bow hair, I should say, and you want to tilt the bow over so the wood goes away from your face and you play on this edge of your bow hair. Now when you play on the edge of the bow hair, it means you play with only a section of the hair on the string, not with everything. And if fewer hairs touch the string, you get a softer and more delicate sound. If you play with full hair, you sound like this. And I'll play with half the hair on the side, tilting bow. Can you hear the difference? It's much more delicate, a much softer, more intimate timbre to your sound. Now our next technique is bow speed, and I would encourage you to experiment with different bow speeds and to listen carefully to the difference in sound. So you may think that playing near the fingerboard makes your tone quieter, but what if you increase the speed of the bow? Let's have a look. That's a normal way of playing, and now I go. You see, it's very different now. It's much of an airier, a fluffier tone. Now you may like that or you may not like that at all. That is a personal choice, but I'm just giving you options that you could explore in your own music. And then you can ask yourself, what happens if I keep the same speed of the bow, so the faster pace of the bow, and I'll come closer to the bridge. So it becomes a bit edgier, you see, a little bit squeaky. Sometimes it can be quite nice, not in all kinds of music, but there are sections in music that you might think, ah, now I can use this technique, you see. The next technique that you might use for a stronger articulation is finger tapping. And when you tap your left fingers, you give your notes more definition. So I could put my fingers down in a normal way, which gives a certain definition. But if I tap my fingers more loudly, more strongly, I get better defined notes. So the finger tapping is mostly used when you play slurred sections. Let me give you an example of how to play a section without tapping your fingers, and then I'll play the exact same section where I tap my fingers much harder, and perhaps you can hear a difference. And now with the tapping. Can you hear that? Every finger now comes down much more quickly down onto the string, and it gives you a sort of, well, definition, that's all I can call it. It's just more precise when the note begins, and that adds clarity to your playing. So let's put it all together now, and here's your challenge. Take a simple melody, maybe a folk song or a scale, and play it first focusing only on stability. In other words, bow hold, shoulder, upper arm. Then change your contact point. Then add some vibrato and add phrasing and layer each step. And by the time you reach the last step, your violin will sound like it's singing. And I'd really like to hear from you in the comment section down below this video what you have found. Are you making a different sound? Are you more deliberately making your playing more expressive? I look forward to reading your comments. Always remember though that what kind of sound you like is what matters. And exploring and creating your own individual style of playing takes time, but whatever style becomes your style, it starts with exploring the endless possibilities of combinations of speed and weight of the bow, the tilt of the bow, how firmly you hold the bow, how much weight you have in the bow, how you add your dynamics and your phrasing and your articulation. So now you know how to make your violin sing. You have learned about relaxation, about bow control, about weight of the bow versus pressure, and you can add subtle dynamics and tricks that articulate your notes so that they stand out. If you want a bit more guided practice, this is the video that you want to watch next. And if you've learned something today, please do me a favor and like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you can, please also hype this channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you soon.